Welcome to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week, but first, it's my first show back in the new year, and I want to welcome everyone to 2017, and I hope you have a healthy 2017. On Wednesday, February 8th at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to join Mrs. Ferrara's class at Terrence Riley School, number 7 on First Avenue, and read to the class. It should be a lot of fun. And on Thursday, February 9th, at 10 o'clock in the morning, J.A. Biztown will entertain the Winfield Scott School number 2, located on Madison Avenue. J.A. Biztown is a creation of the Chamber of the Junior Achievement. It's also a standards-based 21st century experimental learning curriculum designed in 5th and 6th grade students to learn the importance of work readiness, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. My role that day will be to swear in the mayor of J.A. Biztown for the day, which will be one of the students from the 5th or 6th grade at Winfield Scott School. And on Friday, February 10th at 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to join members of the City Council, city officials, members of the fire department, as we swear in 15 new firefighters in the city of Elizabeth who've all completed the training and will be in firehouses throughout the city this weekend. The program will take place in council chambers on the 3rd floor of City Hall. And please note that on Monday, February 13th, City Hall will be closed in honor of President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. Please stay with us after these messages, where we're going to talk about the New Jersey Symphony coming to the city of Elizabeth.
We're creating tomorrow's jobs today. Kane University.
Welcome back to Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Gabriel Van Aalst, who is the president and CEO of the New Jersey Symphony. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm also pleased to be joined by Ms. Ellen Lambert, who's PSEG's Chief Diversity Officer and Senior Director, Corporate Citizenship and Culture President of the PSEG Foundation. Ellen, welcome to the show.
Delighted to be here,
You got a heck of a title there, Ellen.
Yeah, don't try and say it without taking a breath.
No, does it fit on the business card?
No.
No, I didn't think
And
so.
it's a good excuse not to carry a business card.
Good answer, good answer. So, Gabriel, Gabe?
Either is fine.
You answer to either one?
I answer to either one, yeah.
Well, then tell us about the organization and the commitment to New Jersey that you have.
So the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra is a statewide orchestra. Our office is in Newark, but we actually perform at our major concerts are at 6 venues across the state. So we try to get our music making out to everyone in the community. And in addition, so we service about 150,000 people each year. And then of that, 60,000 people through our education and community outreach programs. So we really try to get out into the community. We try to service all over New Jersey. And we do that both through our main stage concert series, but also some of the activities that we're going to be bringing here to Elizabeth.
So, Gabe, tell me, you're obviously not from New Jersey.
No.
So, tell me a little bit about your background. How'd you wind up here? That should be an interesting story.
So, my accent is kind of mixed. I am originally from Australia. So, I was born in Sydney, and I was working there both in sort of commercial theatre, so touring theatre companies around Australia, and then I worked for a small orchestra. Small in size but not in reputation or stature, called the Australian Chamber Orchestra, which toured all over Australia. And I was there for a number of years, and we came to America. And then after a while, I decided I wanted to try working in the UK. And I have an Irish passport as well as an Australian passport, so that was very easy. And I worked for another chamber orchestra called the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, which is very famous. It's one of the most recorded orchestras in the world. So if you have a classical music CD, it's probably the Academy. If you're listening to the radio, it quite often is the Academy. So much so that the New Yorker did a famous cartoon where the radio was playing music, and then there was an announcer that says, and that was the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, and next to the radio is a parrot in a cage saying, conducted by Sir Neville Marriner, who was the founder of that orchestra. So I was there for 5 years, and they have a huge American presence. They tour to America 3 times a year, and that was just absolutely thrilling. And we did concerts in the best halls, including the hall in Newark at NJPAC. So the orchestra actually played there in March of last year. And after a number of years there, it just felt like a great opportunity to move on. And the good folks at New Jersey Symphony tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Would you like to join us?" And it was thrilling. It's a great orchestra. It's a fantastic time to be joining the organization. We have a brilliant new music director called Shen Jiang, who I knew by reputation from the UK. And I couldn't be more thrilled to be working with her and come to New Jersey and experience the community, which is so fantastic. And just seeing the support that the orchestra has and the role that the orchestra plays in the community is really thrilling as sort of an outsider. And just personally, the welcome and the warm welcome that I've got is truly testament to such a great state.
So have you studied music growing up? You always
So I
always into classics?
I play violin and piano poorly, nothing like they do on stage. In fact, I was thinking if we have
Can't play it more poorly than I could play.
we
don't feel bad.
We have a great program called Orchestra U, which is a community orchestra where members of our audiences and our communities come together with our musicians. And I'm thinking that I might sort of pick up my fiddle and play in that because that would be really fun. But actually, I studied filmmaking and law, which is totally different from what I do now. I mean, the law is great because I read contracts all day, and it just teaches a great way of thinking. But actually, music was always a passion of mine, and I think having the experience of being a very bad amateur musician helps bring some perspective to what I do and some of the challenges that our players face.
I'm sure New Jersey's thrilled to have you, so we're going to talk some more. But Ellen, the relationship between the orchestra and PSEG Foundation and that partnership, can you tell us about maybe how it got developed and what got you here today?
Absolutely. So 3 years ago, we met with the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra, and we talked about how could we fund something that would bring vitality to the community, that would actually work to get people from different backgrounds together, that would increase the love of classical music and increase the reputation of the orchestra. I had just taken the role of Chief Diversity Officer at PSEG, and we were looking for a way to say we really care about the community and all of the folks in the community. We knew that the symphony did a lot of programming for children. They were doing wellness programming in hospitals, bringing entertainment to folks who were sick, but we wanted something that would just get to the heart and the depth of communities in our constituency. And we talked about what could that look like. And we decided that would be bringing music of your own culture, bringing something familiar to folks who were either not from this country or of different backgrounds, who spoke a different language, where English was a second language. And that's been an incredibly positive program. And we're so excited about being in Elizabeth this year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you. So the inspiration for the project to bring live chamber music to communities, has that originated with PSEG and the foundation, or does that originate with the orchestra, or does that originate in a combination?
It's a combination, I think.
It absolutely is a conversation and a combination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the idea was, as you were saying, that we had this sort of communal desire to get into the community, and both of us feel like we have a responsibility to give back to the community, and we wanted to create a partnership that reflected that passion and reflected the desire to, engage.
So Gabriel, you mentioned early on about chamber music concerts and the orchestras you were part of in Australia and the UK. Being a neophyte, what is a chamber music concert and how is that related to classical music?
So, at its very core, a chamber music concert is essentially a concert that's performed in a chamber. Historically, most of the repertoire that we know now, the famous pieces, Beethoven's Fifth, they were.
Did he have a fourth and a third?
He did. He had up to 9. Yeah, and some would argue that.
Why is the fifth so famous?
It's the one everyone knows.
It's magnificent.
I would sing it, but it would not do anyone justice. It's the one everyone knows. Da 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 da. So just out, that was created because there were wonderful patrons of the arts who essentially owned orchestras or wanted to employ composers to write pieces for their orchestras. But then on a smaller scale, you had people who were running for smaller ensembles. And, it might be, historically, it would have been someone's house, and it might have been sort of 5 to 10 musicians who were playing sort of small pieces, not with a symphony orchestra. And that's how the name chamber music, because it was played in a chamber. What does chamber music mean for now? We take that concept.
So that's evolved then.
It's evolved. I mean, we still play that repertoire, but in the case of Elizabeth, what we're bringing is, it really means small ensembles. And for the audience, the great thing about that is that there's an interaction. There's no division between performer and audience member.
Right.
You want to jump in here, Ellen?
You wouldn't, in a concert hall, you wouldn't have an interaction with the performance. But here it's a small room. There's conversation, there's eye contact. The other thing too that I think is important is we do this for audiences where they don't have to go and buy a ticket right now. They're not running out. This is free, we bring it to them. Also so that the appreciation of music and the arts continues. And chamber music is the perfect vehicle because it's less formal. It's beautiful pieces played by a small group. People can get familiar with the instruments, students can get familiar with the instruments, and it just brings something, like you said, you weren't familiar with the music. When you come, you fall in love.
I was here the last time.
Right, you
last
fall
year
in
or so
love.
when I came.
Right, and you fell in love, right?
And I'm not so sure about that, but
Okay.
I enjoyed listening.
We'll get you eventually.
But
We will.
I don't get it all, so I have to, I have to follow it and understand. Like I wouldn't know Beethoven's Fifth from the 8th or the 3rd.
But that's what's great about these chamber concerts, because actually not only do you hear the music, but the musicians talk you through the program and give you access points and entry points into understanding the music and what it means. And
so where are some of the other locations where this has been performed so far?
Well, we've done Plainfield, New Jersey, all in New Jersey in our territory.
Jersey City.
Jersey City we've done also.
And we perform these sort of programs all across the state. So actually, sometimes we do chamber music performances, as you were saying earlier, in hospitals. So we go in and give, bedside performances or to families.
So let me ask this. Naturally, classical music is something that people always see the elite.
Yeah.
For lack of a better choice of words. How do urban communities respond to classical music in the audiences? How do they respond?
Go ahead. You go first, and then I'll jump in.
So I think one of the things that we try to do is be responsive to the communities that we're going into. So we have programs we had a Bollywood program for the Indian community. We have a Jungle Book program for children, which isn't just music, it's the stories as well. And we have a Havana program, which is
So excited, Cuban community.
So we try to use these sort of other. We don't try to impose ourselves on the community. We try to be responsive and reflexive because we think it's so important to provide access to live music. It's not just...
Now, for all those people from Elizabeth that are watching, I don't mean we don't have elite people in Elizabeth. I just was curious to say, how'd you pick Elizabeth then?
So we picked Elizabeth, number one, because we're right next to Elizabeth. It's a community that we do a lot of work in. We hope we're always there when people need PSEG. That's what
Except
we try
when
to be.
We need lights.
Okay, but music is light, Mayor. That's okay. So actually, music should never just be for the elite. Classical music especially. If you play classical music to folks and don't say this is classical, this is Beethoven, or this is Haydn, people respond incredibly.
That's an excellent point.
If you closed your eyes and just lost yourself in the music of Havana, or in the Bollywood piece. I know we have people who attend these concerts who go, I danced all day to the Bollywood, it was incredible, but it was classical music. And I think we get all caught up on what we have to do, which is why PSEG does this with the symphony, so that the music is accessible. and it's accessible to all. And I'm going to guarantee you're going to come out of a performance and you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to say, "Oh, Ellen and Gabe, I'm in love." I promise you, you're going to say that at the end
I
of
hope
this.
that happens. So we're doing more than one concert, Elizabeth, right?
We are.
Yes.
So tell us about, is it 4 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4.
Tell us about the different messages or the different music or what your attempt to do.
So, do you want me to go?
You can start and I'll
Fine.
add in as
You two are a good tag team, by the way.
I suspect
We're going to get a
we
road
are.
show going. So we're trying to do different types of performances across all the different areas that we're going. So the 4 different concerts are all quite different. So we're bringing the Havana Nights program. We are bringing the Jungle Book program, which, as I was saying, involves storytelling and puppets and Lady Gaga. Here we are also working.
She's doing the halftime show.
Yeah,
this week.
absolutely, and she's done all our costumes. So
And her father's from Elizabeth.
really,
Her father's
yeah.
from Elizabeth.
oh, well, there you go.
He went to a high school called Roselle Catholic here,
Right.
Wow.
which is in the next town over.
So it's even more appropriate.
So
that
anyway,
we're-
we don't know her because she was born in Long Island. But anyway, just a little history.
We're also doing a program with autism, people with autism, which is actually really interesting because we send our musicians out to training because it's a very different concert experience for the audience members, but also for our musicians. And so this is another element of going out into the community and giving back that I think PSEG and the orchestra really feel strongly about.
Very strongly.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, so think about how many musicians you know, how many professional musicians. They're always so distant from the community, yet they're just as involved as you or I might be in the community. I mean, they're probably not a mayor, but they are involved in the community. And what's so lovely about bringing these programs is they get involved in the schools they'll be at, or the centers they'll be in the chambers. They get so involved and they talk about their experiences. And the other thing that happens is young people or people who've never connected to music actually begin to be interested and may develop hobbies or may decide to play an instrument. It's
So
a
have the
lovely
venues been
change.
picked? Have the 4 venues been picked?
I think we've
Yes.
picked all 4, yes.
Yes. And I think we're going to have a slide that sort of
Right,
comes
we're-
up that has all the dates
Oh,
and the times.
I know
Okay.
we're going to Snyder School.
Yeah.
Snyder Academy,
Snyder
right.
Academy. I'm not sure.
Liberty Hall?
Liberty Hall.
Yes.
Okay.
And my foreignness is getting to me now because
That's all right.
the CAU community.
CAU Community Center?
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
There we go.
But we
That's
do
what
have a printed list that
we're
you'll
gonna
be able
pass
to
it.
post up
Okay.
so people can join
So,
us.
and what kinds of music are they going to hear the same music at all 4 venues? Gonna be
No.
different?
no, all different.
All different. So I got to go to all 4 is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
We'd love
Yeah,
to have you
there
at
you
all.
go.
For any chance?
There's possibility,
Good.
depending on the dates, of
Good.
course.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely going to be there for a part of them.
Okay, good.
Depending on schedules, how long I'm going to be there. And who can attend? Anybody?
Well, some of them are open to the public and some of them are private.
Because if they're in a school, typically schools don't love people coming in from the outside without them knowing.
Well, the 3 you mentioned so far are public venues. Snyder,
Yeah,
CAU.
I think Schneider is private.
Private.
Snyder's going to be private?
Snyder, yeah.
By their invitation?
Yeah.
And actually, that's how we started coming to Elizabeth, is that they had invited
That's
us.
where you were
Right,
last time.
that's-
Exactly.
That's where I saw this, I believe a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A year, yeah, so we're going to reach different constituencies from students to seniors. And I think you've talked about the diverse audiences and being a part of the diverse. So the live chamber music, in your opinion, resonates for all. Do other people have that opinion as well? Does it resonate for everyone?
So when we started this program, we brought chamber music into PSEG. And I would tell you, we were nervous that people wouldn't attend, that people wouldn't be interested. So the first concert, I would say about 150 people came and filled what was a large chamber, right? 150 is fairly large. After that, you could not keep employees away. People wanted to come. People came and
Was
listened.
it during the time they worked?
It's during work time.
Oh, yeah,
We
well,
did
of
it
course they
during-
want to get out of work.
But-
Just kidding, I don't mean that.
Okay, so don't take them seriously on that. But now we get asked to bring the chamber music all the time, and people come after work. And I think a number of employees actually became members of the symphony based on their experiences sitting and listening to chamber music and really enjoying it. So I have to tell you, I do think everyone gets involved.
That's terrific. So, Gabe, tell me about How many performances of the whole orchestra happen during the course of a year?
Almost 100.
That many?
I think it's about 80 actually, but yeah, a significant amount.
That's like one every 3 days.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So we've just come from a month with Pinkas Zuckerman, the very famous violinist, and he's been working with us across the state as part of our winter festival. And then we have a couple of weeks off. We have some concerts in February. We're doing Harry Potter live, so playing the score of Harry Potter live to the film in March. We just had one at the beginning of January with Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. So we're really sort of trying to offer sort of performances for all people, not just people who have a strong history of concert going.
So I bought tickets as a holiday gift for my mother, who's 90, her friends who are in their 90s, my nephew, who's 26. We're all coming to Harry Potter.
Oh, great.
On March 11th, because it's delightful. You listen to the live music while you watch the movie, the film. It's an incredible experience.
I mean, having just been to the one that we did with Indiana Jones, one of the biggest compliments I think I got was that someone said to me, you know, there were moments when I just got so captivated that I forgot that there was a live orchestra there. And, you know, on one hand, you don't want to think that our musicians are being ignored, but on the other hand, it's a testament to the quality of the experience that, you know, you're so swept away by the complete experience.
So one of the concerts is going to be at CAU, which is an organization that caters to those folks with development disabilities. How do you work in your repertoire to deal with people who may have disabilities?
So as I was mentioning earlier, our musicians get specific training to work with people with disabilities of all types. We have to really consider the space that the performance is in because, you know, traditionally concerts are held in the dark in sort of small closed rooms, and that's not always suited to this sort of concert. So we really consider the space, we consider the repertoire, again, the facilitator, the person who's talking through the concert, and, you know, we're really preparing our musicians as much as possible for all eventualities because, you know, it's not going to be a quiet audience, and in fact we want to embrace that. We want people to feel comfortable. We don't want our audiences to feel like they have to keep quiet and otherwise there's something is wrong. Actually, we want to embrace that. So with at that particular performance, we're using they have the band that they put together, and they're playing the opener for us. So we're really trying to integrate with them. So it's not just, again, you know, it's a way of avoiding a situation where the orchestra goes in and sort of dictates what's happening. Actually, that's not the case. We try to work with them to create the best environment.
So from a diversity perspective, that's exactly what you want, because not everyone comes to a concert, a chamber, a film with the same way of appreciating it. But if we're all going to be part of your community in this case, then it's wonderful to reach folks who would enjoy in a different way. And what's so amazing, what the Symphony does and why we love this partnership, is they adjust to who the audiences are. So they adjust by background, ethnicity, language, able-bodiedness, abilities. And what happens then is you create a community through music, and everyone is participating.
So you all find it meaningful?
Absolutely.
It's incredibly. When you go to the concert that's for young people with developmental disabilities and you watch how they enjoy it, you may feel differently. They're your constituents and they partake in a way that says, we are all community. We are Elizabeth's community. And it's a wonderful experience to see that.
So do the musicians enjoy playing community concerts, or would they rather the big ensemble? Or they enjoy both?
No, I think they definitely enjoy both. But I think the thing that's really exciting for musicians going to the community concert is the sense of being connected to the audience. Because, you know, as we've been talking about the sort of in a main stage hall, there's a distance between the audience and the musicians. But in these community concerts, everyone's just there, and there's questions that can be asked, and you can, especially after the concerts, our musicians will sort of mingle and take questions and talk to the audience. So there's a direct feedback, and that's really gratifying. And, you know, especially as you were saying, for concerts with people with developmental disabilities, it's really spiritually uplifting to see how the audiences react.
So the musicians doing community concerts and then they hang out and talk with people.
Yeah.
What kind of questions do they ask them? Like, How do you get here?
So-
practice, or
That's a good point.
All sorts of questions. So we actually have a program, not just in the community concerts, but during our main stage concerts called Ask a Musician. So at intermission, you can ask a musician questions. So, sometimes sometimes the question will be like, oh, what's it like working with different conductors, and how do you adjust to working with your music director, or how do you adjust and a guest? So it might be sort of that sort of level of interest, or it might be like, oh, I really love the third movement of the Beethoven Piano Concerto number 3, and what's happening with that developmental change and the key change there? What do you think is going on with that? Or it could be, where do you buy your tuxedos? Which is a question that gets asked. Or what instrument should my child play or my grandchild play?
The best question.
well, I would never ask the first question. I'm more likely to ask the last
The
two.
best question I ever heard was someone asked, have you ever made a major mistake when you're playing on stage in the concert hall? And every single one of the musicians in the quartet said, absolutely, have made huge mistakes. And it's so much
And the
fun to
others,
watch.
Yeah, cover up for it, I guess,
Yep,
right?
they do. That isn't. People make mistakes.
people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For people. So, Ellen, what's the feedback from PSEG when you get involved in things like this locally?
It's
Supportive of
wonderful.
the organization as a whole.
Very supportive, and I think it encourages us to do more when we hear from the community and they say we love doing it. It encourages us when the symphony and the musicians say we really enjoyed that kind of work. I think we're a public utility and we're in people's homes and we try to keep the lights on and we try to keep the heat on, but the bottom line is we're serving people. I mean, we are public service and our job is to serve, and maybe bringing the arts is a wonderful way to serve as well.
Well, I want to thank the two of you for taking the time to join us on the show. And Gabe and Ellen, I thank you for your passion, not only in the arts, but especially classical music. I'm going to leave here, and I'm going to look up Beethoven's third compared to its fifth. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh my God, that was a phenomenal way to
That's what I'm going to try to do. And then I'm going to have my staff try to tell me what the difference is. And I'll have a little fun with this.
They can call me if they want to talk
They're
through
gonna,
it.
I'm thinking we're all going to call you Gabe. That's the problem. Gabe, Ellen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I want to thank all of you for watching this evening, and I want to thank Gabe and Ellen for bringing this to the City of Elizabeth, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Why do we like it here? Let's just say the reasons are diverse. Kane University.